Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
The Imaging Infrared Spectrometer IIRS instrument on board the Chandrayaan-2 lunar orbiter has confirmed the physical presence of both hydroxyl ions OH and water molecules H2O on the surface of the moon. It has done so across a range of surface features that it has imaged. It has also further quantified the amount of water molecules present on the lunar surface in these parts that it has imaged, and it has managed to distinguish parts of the moon that are water rich and parts that are scant in hydration. Now we know that there is water on the moon. This isn't new information and we've known this for at least 10 years or so. So what exactly did Chandrayaan-2 discover? In this video, we'll be discussing the findings made by this spectrometer instrument, how they were made, how they're different from Chandrayaan-1's findings, which originally discovered water, and where water on the moon could have come from. I'm Sandhya Ramesh and this is Pure Science. The first evidence of water vapor near the moon was made by the Apollo missions. Lunar samples returned by both the Apollo missions and the Soviets' Luna missions back from the 60s and the 70s showed water in the soil samples, but the scientists couldn't definitively conclude that it was not contamination. There were subsequently many other missions that attempted to confirm the presence of water on the moon, but everything uses spectral signature or heat and electromagnetic data from the lunar surface, and nothing was able to conclusively confirm that there is definitely water. The first confirmation of hydration on the moon was originally made by the Chandrayaan mission. This is the previous Chandrayaan-1 mission. It was a bit messy when it actually happened. The findings came near simultaneously from two different instruments on board the same mission. One was NASA's Moon Mineralogy Mapper, or the M3 or MQ, and the other was ISRO's own Moon Impact Probe, the MIP probe. Chandrayaan-1 was only a technology demonstrator, just like Mangalyaan now is, so it did not have many sophisticated scientific payloads. Both NASA's and ISRO's instruments were slightly basic. So in November of 2008, the Impactor probe was released from the Chandrayaan-1 orbiter. It fell freely towards the surface of the moon and impacted somewhere near the South Pole. When it did so, it displaced the top portion of the lunar soil. The lunar soil is called the regolith, and it exposed the soil that was just underneath. A year later, NASA announced on the 24th of September 2009 that the M3 instrument had detected water ice on the moon. Then a day later, on the 25th of September, ISRO said that 3 months before M3 made its discovery, the impact probe had in fact already detected hydration just before it impacted. It did so using the Chandra Altitudinal Composition Explorer, or the CHASE instrument that was on board this impact probe. As the probe was falling down, the instrument was analyzing spectral data. But ultimately, both instruments did make the reading and did confirm the presence of hydration. M3 was also able to confirm and provided evidence of water and water ice in the shadowed regions on the moon, which is not exposed to the sun, as well as at the lunar poles. The instrument MCube or M3 was a mineralogy mapper. Its objective was to map the full surface of the moon. It almost did so, but Chandrayaan-1 unfortunately came to a premature end. The instrument was basically an imaging spectrometer just like this one. It functioned by analyzing the amount of radiation reflected back from the moon's surface and distinguished signatures of hydration and water from it. It operated in the 2.8 to 3 micrometers spectral range, which is not very effective at distinguishing between OH and H2O and the combination of the two. The authors of the new Chandrayaan paper state that in order to quantify H2O specifically, the new infrared spectrometer IIRS was designed to operate in the 0.8 to 5 micrometer range, which is much wider. The IIRS mapped the lunar surface from a circular orbit 100 kilometers from the moon's surface. It functions at about a resolution of 80 meters and it covers a width of 20 kilometers in each strip when it makes observations. It has been making observations systematically since the September of 2019. The current findings were made by teams from different ISRO centers, and they were made by analyzing 3 strips of the moon within the latitude range of 29 degrees north and 62 degrees north, covering a varying set of geological formations or surface features on the moon. This data confirmed that hydration was present on the sunlit portions, in permanently shadowed craters and polar regions, as previous findings have also shown. The ISRO scientists further found that silicate rocks called plagioclase absorbed more water, while older highland rocks on the surface, which rise above the surface, showed weak signatures of hydration. In lower latitude Mare regions or Maria, the large darkly colored basaltic plains, some of which are actually visible to the naked eye from Earth, in these regions, in lower latitudes where there was more heat and the temperature was higher, there was nearly no water signature detected. The authors propose a number of theories for the source of water and the source of hydration on the moon, including origins from within the moon's internal mantle processes of the past. Another likely source could have been water or ice-bearing comets that could have crashed into the moon millions of years ago, depositing molecules of water. The findings of water within olivine melt inclusions or small crystallized bits of magma on the moon also back this origin, say the authors. But they also state that the most likely and widespread source of water is thought to be the interaction of solar wind or charged particles from the sun with the surface of the moon, especially so in the lack of a protective atmosphere or a magnetosphere. The process is called space weathering, and just similar to weathering processes here on Earth, there are weathering effects that can be seen on atmosphere-less bodies that are exposed to the vacuum of space. Space weathering can occur not just because of the solar wind, but also because of meteors and meteorites, comets, cosmic rays, and more. It can also alter reflection and spectral readings and the optical properties of surfaces that we study, sometimes leading us to incorrectly interpret data that we obtain from these places. The authors propose that by the process of space weathering, the lunar regolith, which is rich in silicates and oxides, are continuously bombarded at high speeds of up to 800 meters per second by charged particles from the sun. These are protons and electrons that also make up the solar wind. This causes physical, that is structural and chemical changes on the composition of the lunar regolith at the site of impact, whereby there could be a proton that gets trapped from the solar wind, and this causes hydrogen to bond with oxygen, eventually forming water with time. Scientists state that once these molecules are formed, they get distributed across the surface of the moon because of the variations in temperature between the daytime and the nighttime. On the moon, there is no atmosphere to regulate the temperature, so the temperature difference between the day part of the moon and the night part of the moon is really high. The authors say that during the day and at points where there is high sunlight, the temperatures break the OH bonds, leading to a lack of hydration signature in spectral readings. The presence of water on the moon has large implications for human activity on the moon. It also then raises ethical and legal questions about who owns this water, because water is also a resource. As the space law and international community debates that out over the next few years, there are no dearth of proposed missions to the moon now. ISRO scientists too are continuing to study the moon with IIRS and Chandrayaan-2, and more data about water on the moon is expected to arrive soon.